France 24 senior reporter Cyril Payen has just come back from reporting in Lebanon. He joins me now on the set to talk more about the situation there. Cyril, you spent 2 weeks in Lebanon. How are civilians there surviving this conflict?
Well, it's a very difficult situation, obviously, at many levels, because it's a multiple offensive from the Israeli, which started on the 23rd of September. There is a very deep feeling among the population, whether you are Shiite, Sunnite, or Christian, whether you are in the south or in the capital, Lebanese, or of being absolutely and deeply unsecure. There is no safe place. So psychologically, there is this feeling of having, you live everywhere in Lebanon with drones, Israeli drones, circling around your head. So it's extremely hurting because you can't really sleep, and everybody's expecting some new bombardments. Again, wherever you are in the country. The other thing I will say is that psychologically too, there is a very strong feeling of being isolated, abandoned. When the UNIFIL have been in the controversy and attacked by Israeli, and between the fire between Hezbollah and the Israeli army, there were a diplomatic storm, as we've seen in the package in the film. But on Lebanese side, they said the storm, the complaint on the diplomatic level started with the UNIFIL, but as with us, it looks like the war doesn't exist. So it's a mixed feeling, but it looks like very much people are living all-out war with no perspective whatsoever of what's going to be the next day for them. And for them, it's often dead or being injured.
And also recently, Israel fired on and wounded UN peacekeepers from something called UNIFIL. These are forces in southern Lebanon. These attacks drew international condemnation. What's the situation like for those peacekeepers working now?
Well, it's a very difficult situation for these peacekeepers because it's 10,500 strong contingent, and they have been here since 1978, and they are very attacked on the ground during this ground offensive from the Israeli army in places where it's known by both sides. Everybody knows that Nakura, for instance, which is on constant artillery fire from the Israeli. This is the HQ. This is the HQ from the blue helmet. So everybody knows where they are. Now, on the political side, Benjamin Netanyahu, as we said, we've seen what he was saying. His statement is very clear. We want them out because they are useless, and they have been trying to make a peace between the two sides by being blue helmets in the wrong place, and we want to move on the ground, and they have to leave, which is internationally impossible. It's a UN mandate, a UN resolution. So it looks very much we are on the ground, by the air, at war, but also in the rhetoric. And the rhetoric on the Israeli side is extremely strong, and it's really, really hurting the people in Lebanon also.
And Cyril, just briefly, what's happening with any hope of negotiation for a ceasefire?
Again, and just to be the voice of the Lebanese, nobody expects anything because everybody is as much as Gaza, because the strategy is quite similar militarily. Everybody knows that Washington is arming Israel, is like the godfather, the political godfather of Israel, and there won't be Washington. There is no many talks, no voices saying we want a ceasefire. What is clear on the ground is like the diplomats in Beirut, the American diplomats are just trying to secure the road to the airport, which is crossing the southern part of Beirut, which is heavily bombarded, because maybe at last they will evacuate the American citizens. But also, again, this is the strong feeling of being totally abandoned and going nowhere with no ceasefire at sight because of this diplomatic support of Israel from Washington.
Cyril, thank you for that, and thanks for your reporting. That's France 24's Cyril Payen.